feels though Yuji's lying about shutting his feelings off in this. It's him convincing himself as okay now he feels nothing. Even with his short time with Choso, he obviously cares a lot. None of the cast would ever guilt Yuji for living, save the obvious one. It's always self-imposed hatred. Yes. Yes, Ketch, 100% yes. And it's not just Yuji, it's people, right? For people who don't feel anything, who've developed a flat affect, whether it's from trauma or from anything really, it's not actually imposed on by the world. It's imposed on by yourself as a defense mechanism to not feel bad things. Same thing with Yuji. It's a defense mechanism that doesn't actually affect reality. It affects your perception of reality. Yuji isn't actually losing. He's not stopping caring about people, right? His brain is just shutting off the part of him that feels things. So he doesn't think he feels it, but he still does, because your brain doesn't alter reality. I'm sorry to say it, mind over matter is true, but that doesn't mean you can affect reality with your mind. You need your agents of change, right? That's why hands are important. That's why we look at them in despair. What have I done with my agents of change? Your mind can't do anything on its own. It can only change how you perceive things. So Yuji thinks he's shutting off his feelings. He thinks he has this cold determination. He does, but the feelings are still there. You can't literally shut off your feelings. You can only shut off your awareness of them. And that's when things bottle up. That's when things become an issue. That's when things inevitably explode, right? You just don't notice it because your brain shut off your awareness of it. Because having a feeling and openly feeling it, being aware of it, are two very different things. They are distinguishable. They are mutually exclusive. I guess not entirely. You can't feel something about a feeling you don't have. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. What's your thoughts on Yuji? In case you can't tell, I love this song, and I think the song expresses him really well. So yeah, I love him. I think he's a great character. He kind of represents what I dislike about JJK. Not what I dislike, but what I, from a subjective point, don't like it as much as something like MHA, because Yuji, at this point in the story, represents an idealistic person slamming into the brick wall of reality, which I think most of us have experienced for some point or some degree or another. So it's good. I'm not saying it's objectively bad. I'm just an idealist myself, and I try to rail against cynicism. Yuji's kind of the opposite of that. He's an idealist who's getting stomped by cynicism, and maybe he will rail against it. This song is about rising up regardless and casting off that cynicism. So maybe he will get there. But I do love Yuji. I love our precious boy. He doesn't deserve a fraction of what's happening to him. If Nobara and Nanami, or both of them, didn't die in Shibuya, do you think Yuji wouldn't be as depressed as he is? Yes and no. The big depression was obviously Sukuna, right? But at the same time, a lot of it was him being kicked while he's down, him being beat down after he'd found his cold determination, and the world said, yeah, that's not good enough, buddy, and just kept knocking him down by killing off Nanami and then Nobara. I think if they hadn't died, he would be more deeply in his cold determination phase, because that's what made him kind of double question his own cold, dark conviction that hopefully he will get out of at some point. So it would have been really complicated, I think, or it might have been even more simple. I think his mind in season 3 would be a lot less conflicted than it is now. But it's that beating him while he was down after he tried to find his conviction that I think really leads to this complicated, convoluted, and messy mental space he's in right now. That's causing him to his brain to just shut off, right? Causing him to shut off from his emotions. I think he'd still be depressed about the mass death, but it wouldn't affect him as much because he would have a cheerful friend and mentor by his side. True. Nobara would be with him, right? Of course. And Nanami would also probably support him. So he would have more people by his side, which would be great. Just look at how his demeanor changes alongside Yuta and Megumi. Those are real anchors, especially the latter. Definitely, right? You see the light coming into Yuji's eyes when Megumi appears. A light that's not shared by Megumi because he's got a much flatter affect. They're his anchors, right? You can see how he lights up when he's around them. What do you think of Yuta and Megumi as a whole? I know people slander the two a lot. I mean, I love Yuta and Megumi. Yuta's great. He's a different kind of cinnamon roll from Yuji, but he's certainly he's plenty cinnamon on his own. You could even argue more so. He's the way he like treated that kid at the end of season 2, and the way his voice changes when he is alone with the Yuji in front of the campfire. I mean, not alone, but he's with Choso still like lurking in the corner. The way his like face and his tone softens. I love you. I love Yuta. And I love Megumi too. He's great. Megumi, my depressed goat.